Hey guys, Xeno here, back to continue reviewing Mega Man 4. I know I've been gone for a while, but I've been busy, and now I have time to continue doing this again. Last time I gave quite a lot of praise to this game, so I'll be focusing more of this episode on critiquing Mega Man 4's weaker areas. I believe I mentioned that the weapons overall are very strong, with probably the only exception being Skull Barrier, but one thing I really probably should have talked about more in the previous episode is the boss design in this game. And honestly, there's no better place to start talking about that than this stage, because Brightman is probably one of the worst bosses in the franchise. And it's for a really stupid reason too, because on paper, the design sounds clever, but actually playing it out, it doesn't work at all. As far as his actual stage goes, these gimmicks here are pretty interesting. There are crickets that jump around on spikes, as you just saw, and I'm not sure what that has to do with light bulbs or electricity, but regardless, these enemies are also pretty neat. They drop down from the ceiling, as you can see. And honestly, pretty standard so far. The introduction to the cricket gimmick was pretty clever, but not much to comment. This part is kind of interesting. There's a little side path down this ladder here, and this is something I noticed that only ever really happened in Mega Man 4, which is kind of bizarre. These random side paths. There's one room in Ringman Stage 2, which I'll get to later, that just has Eddie in it, but in no other game are there these, like, little side rooms. If you have Rush Jet, like I do, you can just fly across this whole segment. You don't even have to bother with these lifts, which is pretty convenient. Before I forget to mention it, the music in the stage is really good. Very catchy. More of this cricket gimmick. And, still really not much to say. The crickets overlapping sometimes are a bit annoying, but nothing game-breaking. You would think that the crickets would be a little bit more glitchy since they're basically moving solids, but I've found that they're actually one of the most functional types of moving solid. Way better than the footholders, that's for sure. Those, if I ever get to start talking about Mega Man 1, boy. And, I've played this many, many times, so, you know, I know exactly what to do for this set, except... That's weird. The holder came back, but nothing else did. Pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. Anyways, like I was saying, if I ever get to talk about Mega Man 1, the footholders are a whole topic of their own. There are less electricity-related gimmicks in this stage than I would have hoped. Honestly, the light bulb one is probably the only one that has remotely to do with, like, light. I also find it pretty bizarre that these graphics you see right above are only used in this specific portion. Little bizarre, but I'm gonna switch to Skull Barrier, just maybe that'll be more convenient. Find some good usage for this thing. Hopefully I won't get knocked down the pit the same way, yeah. And that's basically the stage. Probably could have used some more light-related things, or even maybe like electricity-related things. Would have been cool if these glass things you see below here could have, like, broken and had to dodge the electricity somehow, but anyways. Time to talk about the train wreck of a boss that is Brightman. This is the way he works. If you've been mystified and puzzled, never understanding how he functions, this is it. He jumps around and fires bullets, and he'll only do his signature attack, the Flash Stopper, at certain intervals of his health. I don't remember what they are exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's half health. If I remember, it's like 14 bars, which is half health. Or is it? Actually, to tell the truth, I don't remember. It might be 16 bars, 8 bars, 4 bars. But the gist of it is that he'll do his Flash Stopper 3 times at certain HP values. And if you don't know this, you'll just get rammed. Since he does 8 contact damage like all the other Robot Master in this game, if you get frozen, you're basically going to get pummeled. I'm getting pummeled right now just trying to dodge his attacks to show this, but the way you want to take Brightman on is by doing this. If you fire one normal Buster shot and bring him down to 27 HP, you can either fire charge shots if you don't have his weakness, or you can fire Rain Flush. And he'll never flash, because he'll never hit any of those HP values. One thing I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this, but it's really weird how the boss door disappears from the left side of... I think this happens on every single NES game, every single Mega Man NES game. I have no idea why this happens. It's kind of bizarre, but the boss door just disappears from the left side. Anyways, I spent so much time blabbering I just ended up dying, but let me show you how a fight with him works if you have no idea about this strategy. So you'll start firing, you'll get some charges in, maybe fire some normal shots. I'm not going to use the weakness because I'm going to use it to take him out. So this is what will happen. He'll hit one of his HP values eventually. I think I might have skipped one of them. If I accidentally don't get to show this attack off, that's going to be really funny. It's 4, right? Yeah. One of them's 4. And he'll just stomp on you, like this, and you'll die. And there's literally nothing you can do while you're frozen. So, it's completely unfair. And the fact that it's almost impossible to tell what his HP is at any given time makes this even worse. Because if there was a number, then maybe it would be acceptable. And if this were communicated to the player somehow, but as it stands, this is a terrible design. Dreadful. Just get out of here. The weakness is pretty smart, because you want to be far away from him most of the time. And that's it. Let me see if I can do the stand in the middle of the arena glitch. I don't know if I got it. No. I think I was a couple pixels off. For those not in the know, if you stand in the exact middle of any boss room in Mega Man 4, when you jump up to get the weapon, that teleportation animation and the weapon get, you'll instantly move from the ground into the position where Mega Man goes. Because normally he walks to the center of the screen and jumps up, but if you're already at the center of the screen, he just glitches up. Moving on, Pharaoh Man. Indisputably the most popular Robot Master from this game. He's a little overrated, I gotta say, but his stage is pretty good. Let's start here with this quicksand. Obviously, like any other quicksand gimmick in games, if you stay too long, you just die. And it's pretty smart. These scorpion enemies are a bit of a pain. They have 4 HP, which I think probably could have been reduced to 3, honestly, because it's kind of inconvenient that a charge shot doesn't take them out. So a nice rompy section here at the beginning. Now, you might be wondering where the other hidden item was. One of them was in Dive-Man stage, as I showed off last time, and the other one is over this pit. I think it's pretty clever that there's actually something on the right side of the screen here, because, you know, it would be disappointing to have an opening and just have nothing be there, but there's a similar looking gap in Dustman stage that leads nowhere, so this game isn't even really consistent with that. Anyways, you can use Rush Jet to fly over most of this, if you're lazy like I am and don't want to fight any of the other enemies. Now, you can do something funny with Balloon Adapter here. If you ride into it with Rush Jet, you'll sink it to the quicksand. You won't die, luckily, but It's just funny. I think it would probably be funnier if you actually could die there, but... this actually moves you slightly forward in the stage. There's a segment that is skipped if you get the balloon adapter like this, right above here, that has like an E-tank in it, so it's kind of unfortunate, but at least you get to move forward. So, time for another gimmick not really related to the boss at all, which is these strange lifts. I'm not sure why they couldn't have had, like, I don't know, hieroglyphs or something more pertinent to the theme of pharaohs, but oh well. You can only ask so much. You can only ask for so much from NES era games, I suppose. I was expecting that head to travel a lot faster for some reason. Probably too used to ROM hacks and fan games where people just set the speed of those things to insane amounts. And that's the end. Pretty short and quick stage, especially if you get the balloon adapter, because you skip 4 screens. Like, you skip an entire hallway, basically. And really kind of disappointing on the lack of Pharaoh-related gimmicks, but all in all, pretty average. So, Pharaoh Man. I'm not sure if there's any way to manipulate how many times he does the Pharaoh Wave pattern where he charges up, but he's a much more intelligently designed boss than Bright Man, I'll tell you that much right away. And his weakness is Flash Stopper, which can freeze him completely. And you can just kind of rail on him. You can even make a funny noise if you have turbo controls on. And because you're firing so fast, one of the noise channels in the music breaks. Alright, let's see if I can show off the stand in the center of the room glitch. I think I'm close. I was probably a couple pixels off. It's not a huge loss if I don't get to show this off. You can probably find it in any old Mega Informed Glitches video. Yeah. Alright, now... I didn't show Flash Stopper much in the previous stage, but I'll show off what it does here. As the name suggests, it stops everything. Stops enemies, everything stops moving, and oh, there's a weapon, that's convenient. As you imagine, this is pretty useful. It has particular use in this stage due to some upcoming mini-bosses, so I'll refrain from using it too much, but... So, Ringman stage. Many people know this stage as Mini-Bosses Incarnate, and that's a worthy title. I'm pretty sure it has the most mini-bosses out of any normal Robot Master stage, with a whopping 4. And once again, feel like I pressed the jump button, but didn't jump for some reason. Show off a little bit of an oddity. Rush standing on air. Very insignificant, but funny to note. So, like I was saying, a lot of mini-bosses in this stage. What should I use? I think Dive Missile is a good, whoa. Except when it doesn't aim properly. Yeah, Dive Missile is a pretty good choice for taking out this guy. And I think weapon energies just literally disappeared on screen. Might have to watch the footage again, but when the mini-boss died, I think weapon energy just disappeared from the screen. Dive Missile's aiming can be kind of wonky at times. It'll sometimes turn in weird ways. And I find it a bit bizarre that it can damage the ground trotting enemies, but here's where Flash Stopper really comes in handy. This enemy. This guy is known as Whopper, I believe, and you can just freeze him and shoot him. Pretty convenient. Alright, let's show off some Drill Bomb. 2 mini-bosses back-to-back right here. Wait a minute. Huh. Looks like drill bombs just kind of disappear. That's interesting. I didn't know that. But Rain Flush does a fine job taking this guy out. Bit slow though. There we go. I'm pretty ambivalent about the music and graphics of this stage, but the fact that you go into space is kind of neat, like traveling upwards at the beginning and now we're in space. I find that a lot of these stages lack gimmicks that are relevant to the Robot Master, but that's kind of a problem that's not... It's not an isolated problem for this game. It's a thing I notice in a lot of classic Mega Man games, that the Robot Master stages don't have all that much to do with, like, the Master Theme themselves. And it's definitely worse in some cases than others. Thinking about it off the top of my head, probably, like, maybe Crash Man has, like, almost nothing to do with bombs. No bomb-related gimmicks, it's just kind of climbing. Obviously, it's good that there are, you know, ring-related enemies and such, and that at least fulfills some of that. Enough blabbering about that, though. I've always found this particular segment here to be very empty. There's just two enemies and a lot of wide nothingness. This screen, bit of a dick move, just drops you, but I like it. It's something that people would dub a panic room, usually that's what those are called. Pretty clever idea for one. So, the mini-boss here is dead, but the rings don't get destroyed, which can cause a problem if the mini-boss decides to fire its rings wide out, and you can just get hit by it even after the boss is dead. They probably should have programmed a line in there where if the mini-boss is dead, then the projectile should just despawn, but they kind of failed to do that. You can charge Pharaoh Shot while the boss intro is happening, as you've probably noticed by the Pharaoh Shot above my head, and it's time to show off the most aggressive boss in this game. Ringman only does one thing. He'll walk back and forth and shoot rings that fly in this very bizarre pattern. But if you don't understand him, he'll get you very fast. He's super aggressive. And if you shoot at him while he's walking... Oh. Well. I guess I didn't get to fully explain what I was talking about, but... If you shoot him while he's walking, he'll fire a ring at you quickly, and then he'll jump up and fire those two boomeranging rings. But it's a surprisingly hard pattern to dodge, especially if you don't fully understand it. And honestly, it's kind of a disappointing pattern, since he really only does the same thing over and over again. And, as you saw, with him dying to the Pharaoh Shot while I wasn't even firing, the Pharaoh Shot that spawns above your head can damage enemies. And it doesn't consume any ammo either. Let me see if I can show that off. Yeah, there you go, it just kind of died. In other words, this is a really, really bad position for an enemy. Pretty shameful. And this first room in Dustman Stage has a lot of terrible design in general. These things, up and downs, they just come from nowhere, and I was talking about this on my Discord server, but Skullberry just deletes these guys, and it's very bizarre. I don't think that was intended. These things just come from nowhere. Oh, they're immune to dive? I didn't know. Okay, they're not immune to drill bomb. So they just kind of come from nowhere, and they'll knock you into the pits, just with absolutely no hesitation, and you won't see it coming unless you know and remember that they're coming out of the pits. This is the area I was talking about in Pharaoh Man Stage. It looks like there should be something over here, but there's not. They could have easily alleviated this by either bringing that graphic on the ceiling just down to close this, or putting an actual secret here, but as it stands, this is stupid. And you can also glitch yourself out by sliding repeatedly. That's funny. Dustman stage is another one I don't really have much to say. The graphics are fitting, and the gimmicks are probably actually more appropriate than a lot of other stages. You have these reassembling blocks here, which actually do despawn after a certain amount of time, although you'll probably never see it if you're moving at a smart pace. So there's that. There's another dust-related gimmick coming up, so I think the stage... And, wow. For some reason, I play this game a lot worse when I'm recording than at any other time, because I don't normally think I would have missed that. Oh well. So this stage does do a much better job of gimmicks, and I think these things are immune to Rain Flush, which I forgot. This is one stage where I think I could say I'm pretty satisfied with the amount of gimmicks related to the Robot Master, because they did a fine job here. Now I'm trying not to screw up. And Eddie again. Nice. He dropped an E-Tank first try. That's really good. You probably noticed me resetting him to get an E-Tank in Ringman Stage 2, but... So here's the dust-related gimmick. This Crusher segment that goes up and down. Oh, it's pretty glitchy, if that's any sign. I wasn't even trying to do anything, and it already managed to bug out. One thing they did that's better than Mega Man 5's Crusher segment, which was in the Wily stages, there was a segment very similar to this. In this game, charge shots go through the dust blocks, and I'm not sure why they couldn't program this properly in Mega Man 5. Because it doesn't really make sense for a charge shot to get consumed by a single block. And, this segment is pretty fair overall. You can get yourself crushed if you're not sure what you're doing, and there are some tight spots like that. But, overall, pretty good segment. Pretty related to the theme of dust, because junkyards and all that. Compression. I like the burning garbage graphics at the end here. That's pretty nice. And now time for Dustman himself. He'll shoot his weapon, Dust Crusher, which explodes right below you into fragments that go in an X shape like that. He'll also try to suck you in, similarly to Magnet Man and Wind Man, but you can avoid this Dust Crusher attack by just jumping. I've heard that staying a certain distance away from him can convince him to do certain attacks, like make him jump more often or fire his Dust Crusher more often, but not sure how true, and I'm gonna die, so... Oh, wait. I thought he had one hit left. I was not paying enough attention. And now I'm dead. Anyways, some say you can influence his RNG. I forget if that's actually the case, but he'll jump around pretty high and just fire projectiles. Probably one of the better bosses in this game, honestly. A lot of the Mega Man 4 bosses are either really repetitious, and now he's jumping a lot. That's funny. Just jumped like 4 times in a row. But a big problem with Mega Man 4's bosses is that they're either very repetitious or just kind of unfair. Brightman, really unfair. Ringman, repetitious and somewhat unfair. Diveman, repetitious. Skullman, repetitious. Toadman, just really boring. So, bosses is an area where this game is lacking. Wait, did I get it? I missed it every time. I don't think I'll get another chance to show that off. That's unfortunate. You'll see more of Dust Crusher in the upcoming stages, but it acts pretty much just like it did in Dustman's fight. You fire a projectile, and when it hits an enemy, it'll explode into 4 pieces, just like so. And that's it for the Robot Master stages. I'll see you guys next time when I tackle the Cossack Fortress and figure out what he's up to. Not going to spoil anything about that, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.